What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Point Leader 75. This time we're going to take a look at the Porsche 911-ish. As with all the cars that I make in AutoMation, I call them Crown, and this is Crown Model 1 Generation 2020. And this is a 6-speed manual transmission GT3 Porsche-ish. And it's a natural aspirated engine at 4 liters. Actually, it should be 4 liters. Yeah, I think it's a 4-liter engine, and it has 500 horsepower, about 550 to be precise, and has a pretty good power band in terms of the torque. So it'll definitely take a little bit of a toll on the driver. So we're going to test it on the AutoMation test track, the handle course, and see how it does, and give you guys a little peek of the car sounds and the performance of it, and some of my quirks and tips and so on. So alright, let's get started and start the engine. It does rev up to 9,000 RPM. That's where the red line is. Power band is from 4,000 to 7,700 RPM. Alright, so you'll be able to hear a little bit of squeaking from my steering wheel. It's my backup steering wheel. Also a Fanatec, but it's a bit lower quality than the high-end one that I normally use. The higher end steering wheel doesn't have any power supply currently, so I have to get that power supply replaced soon enough. But until then, this is what we got. And also, since this is a manual gearbox, I will use my Fanatec shifter. It's gonna give away a little bit of clunky sounds now and then, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Having the computer moved out of the room, that's the only thing that you hear nowadays, so there's no fan or anything other than that going on in the background. So alright, let's get started. And this car is definitely very Porsche-ish feel to it. It's very much old school. Hydraulic steering, geared limited, slip differential, and so on. So it's very mechanical in that way. Not like the other ones with electric slip differential and power steering. So you definitely have to know what you're doing. Not sure if that jump was a good idea, but it's always fun to jump. Definitely gonna have to do a little bit of maintenance on the gear. The steering wheel is not so much by itself, it's pretty much a enclosed one, but at least for the pedals they do need a little bit new oil coating, and the gearbox might need some as well. We'll see. That definitely needs something because sometimes it misshifts the gear, so not me doing it, but it's not putting in the gears the way it should. You definitely want to get the feel for the car, because this one is pretty tail happy, and that's pretty much Porsche nature, or the 911 nature. And the thing with this car is that you easily get blinded by the speed. It does go quite a bit faster than you think it does, so always pay attention to how fast you're actually going. And that's a pretty good time. Alright, second attempt. And we are pretty much in a good position there. Although these times are made by the GT3'ish MR-ish that I made, so we're not going to get anywhere near that, I don't think. Alright, second attempt, and then we're heading over to the Italy map. And as you could see there, it's not about pushing it, because if you do, then you definitely end up in the barrier or worse. Car is fast enough as it is, and we're going to try to stick on third gear for the most part of it, just to see how well we do then, compared to downshifting to second gear without the corners. Whereas we don't necessarily have to do it, because we do obviously have the power band to within our reach anyways. I am going to push it a little bit more than the first run, but get the mouse cursor out of the way. And yeah, like with all the cars that I make in AutoMation, especially these 911s, I do test them very thoroughly, just to make sure that you get the best experience out of it, force feedback wise. So having that said, I'm not sure how my cars will handle, for say if you're using keyboard or a gamepad for that matter, but should be okay. But it's definitely aimed towards using a force feedback steering wheel. As this game is pretty much almost a simulator in my opinion, because the way it simulates the suspension. Not so sure about the tire models, but I mean, it is an early access, so that might change over time, who knows. Let's hope for the better. And there we go, that's the tail. And come on. And I was braking. And that, I think we lost a little bit of our car there. Yeah, we definitely damaged it. Alright, well, there you have it, 1:15. We're gonna move on to the Italy map. I think that's a better idea. We're not gonna try any record attempts here. It's just a showcase anyways. So let's see you guys over there. Alright, we are now at the Italian map, or on the Italian map, on a hill in a very small village with a nice castle on top of it. And this is where I usually take my cars to do normal road testings, with a little bit of a downhill highway, a little bit of an uphill, then downhill again, and then uphill to finally end up back at this village. So it's a nice variation, sort of. And oops, there we go. Alright, so let's give it a try. Start the engine and get going. Starting on second gear really. Alright, so we are probably going to have a little bit of mishaps here and there. It is a pretty tricky car to drive, and then also the fact that we have to deal with a little bit of a weird gearbox for the gear shifters. The cable for it is a little bit messed up, I think, so it will miss shift now and then. But for the most part, we're not gonna overdo it. We're just gonna take a nice, cautious little ride. Now these are 50 km/h speed limit roads, so we're at least doing twice the speed sometimes. And that's the thing with this car, it's that you so easily go too fast, forgetting how fast it actually is. And you gotta pay real attention to your speed here. And the fact that it is quite bumpy here, so you will definitely unsettle the suspension quite a bit and have sudden moments of oversteer if you're not careful. But it is a nice car, nevertheless, just cruising around with. And if you want to have that old school feel to it, then this is definitely the cup of tea for you. There you go. That's the pedal that just didn't catch up with the rhythm. Leaving the gearbox behind, sort of. This corner is a little bit tricky because it's banked a little weird, so you want to be careful on that slight left-hander. And the car is pretty low, so it'll definitely hit the front lip into the ground now and then. Nothing too big to worry about unless you're really slamming it. I mean, it is supposed to be Porsche-ish quality to it, and so that's how I made it. You will be able to punish your cars, at least my Model 1s, which are the 911s, quite heavily. You'll be able to punish the brakes and the engine pretty much without having to worry about any fatigue or wear. Oh, and there we go. And let's rewind a little bit. That was me going a little too fast. Ending up on the bigger road and heading towards the highway. We'll just got one roundabout to pass here. Come on, give up. There we go. Finally decided. Let's put the fourth gear in. And the fifth. Definitely need to do a little bit of work on the pedals. But as you can see, other than that, the car is more than capable of doing 250 and still being able to turn. You just gotta give it a little bit spare to slide. Obviously, you are trying to turn the car at speeds far greater than you would otherwise have on the track even. Like there, I just barely had any traction. And as always, you can see all the inputs from my steering wheel and the pedal work to the right there. Alright, slowing down a little bit, speed bump, and make sure you don't fly over here, it's just not worth it. As we're going to make a turn here anyways, I might as well put in second gear here. You're ready with the clutch, you don't want to stall the engine necessarily. It does have quite a lot of torque even on the lower RPMs, it's just that it can only do so much. Be careful on the throttle here, it's pretty bumpy. And keep in mind we are doing 100 kilometers an hour on a 50 kilometer an hour road. and then some, exceeding the speed limits in most countries already, even for a highway. Terrorizing this small little quiet village, quite beautiful if I may say so. Looks pretty old, a very typical Italian village in the hills. It's 30 km/h speed limit here, but who cares in a car like this? And we just passed the sign there saying 30 km/h. And since we don't have any traffic or pedestrians on the road, we don't care. Now a bit of hill climb. Still a bit bumpy, so we want to be careful here. There's a little bit of a stretch right around this corner where you can hit the throttle a little bit. Just stay away from the left side. There's a lot of rocky areas there, and you easily hit those, and that will cause the car to flip over. We don't need that. Careful about this corner. It has a follow-up. Pretty sharp corner there, and then a long left-hander. But don't get too early on the throttle here, or you'll end up on the right-hand side in the trees. And then comes the follow-up corner, and then you can hit throttle a little bit. No need to put in fourth gear here anyways. We are having a right-hand corner. Now from here it's pretty much straightforward. But for the most part you can stay on third gear. It's pretty much enough for most corners. And that's the benefit of having a quite broad or wide power band, that you have a lot of work that you can do with that. A little bit of cutting here and there is fine here. Not too much though. Just be ready for the hairpin to the right. And we are doing a little bit of a downhill again. Watch out for the left side. Has a lot of rocky features to it, and you easily fall over the edge. And we're still doing about 100 km/h on a very narrow road, give or take. I would do a lot of heel and toe, but I need to fix my rig a little bit. It is a hard mounted rig. Everything is solid. Doesn't even flex at all. But that's also part why my spare wheel of a slightly more plastic feel to it squeaks a little bit, because it's so hard mounted. But that at least is better than having it move around. There's nothing worse than having a steering wheel moving. Watch out for the shadows it's placed on you. You don't want to hit the wall to the left there. Oh, come on. Ooh, that was close. And we're doing pretty much 80 plus through these corners. That's more than you can wish for. Definitely faster than any standards. And you're doing it fairly easily with this car. And that's it. That's the difficult part. It's more about restraining yourself from really pushing it than the other way. So that's why you can take it pretty easy, and you'll be up to speed again pretty fast anyway. So you're not really losing that much time. Be careful here. It's quite bumpy. And there we go, I lost traction on the steering wheel. I should listen to myself a bit more often. Well, yeah, I mean, this car is definitely a handful, that's for sure. But it's fun. It's a pure joy to drive it, for sure. Having it in fully manual definitely takes a bit focus. And there we go. And reset the car again. It's ever so slightly too fast again, which happens so easily with this car. It is pretty narrow, and the banking of the road is a bit awkward sometimes, so you definitely tend to understeer more than you would have anticipated. I mean, this car definitely has a lot of downforce. That assumes that you do hit certain speeds, of course. Now here you want to watch out for this bump. But yeah, like I said, the car definitely has a lot of downforce, so it can definitely handle itself, which is that there's always a limit, and you don't want to hit that curb. Oh yeah, it is pretty low, so you can definitely start on second gear in most cases. Just be a little bit more gentle on the clutch and you'll be fine. And it's a good idea. It's a good idea to know where to go. The other one, I think, was just a driveway to a property or something. Either that or an uncharted road leading down to the beach to our left. But we're pretty much almost done here. We're gonna see the village that we started from, up on the hill in front of us there. Taking the left, and that's gonna wrap up this video. But yeah, this car is definitely a handful, and I'm pretty sure that if you're into manual shifting and all that stuff, and a fan of 911s, you're definitely gonna love this car. So having that said, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Also hit the bell if you wanna follow up on the upcoming videos. There's gonna be plenty of them coming up, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Alright, let's park the car here and give it some nice revs. Alright, so there you have it.